And what exactly is an Earthship?
A home that is completely self-contained. That's what the original true Earthships are. They collect their own water, take care of their own waste, grow their own food, heat and cool themselves. They really don't need any outside resources to maintain a living environment.
And what made you want to build one?
Well, we've always kind of been, you know, we like to recycle things, and we hate to see waste. You know, that's one of the big things, and so we decided that we wanted to buy a piece of property and build a home, and so naturally we were looking at you know, earth-bermed homes and energy efficiency and stuff like that. And somebody told us, said, "Have you seen those houses made out of tires?" And so we said no, and so anyway we went and looked at one, and then we went and looked at one that was finished and thought, you know, this is what we want to do.
So did you guys build this, or did you contract it out?
We built all of it ourselves. There's only two things we didn't do ourselves, and that was spray on the roof. The roof coating is a sprayed urethane foam, and you can't go down and rent equipment to do that. You have to have a contractor that has the equipment. And then the septic system, the county required us, we have a licensed contractor to install the septic system. But other than that, we did everything else ourselves.
So can you show us some of the things that are sustainable?
Well, you know, the biggest thing is the tires.
All along here?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is the tires that the house is made out of. There's about 12 to 1,500 tires in this house. They're all used car tires. I got them at the tire dump down south of the Springs there, and you know, you stack them up, but the tires are just a casing for rammed earth. So we used dirt from the site. We pounded into the tires. We put about 3 wheelbarrow loads of dirt in every tire, and each tire weighs about 300 pounds. So they're kind of like a brick, and you just stack them and course them like bricks. And,
so this is concrete right here.
Yeah, at the end of every course, you end up with needing a half tire, because since you're coursing them like bricks.
Right.
So we use concrete for the half tires, and then those are all pinned with rebar to the tires so that the wall's nice and sturdy.
And so this is dirt then?
Yeah, that's site dirt with some clay dirt that's mixed with it, and straw. The clay came from right over here in Florissant. And so what we do is pack the voids out flush with the edges of the tires, and then we use adobe plaster and plaster everything with adobe plaster.
So using this kind of material, have you had any problems with bugs or anything like that, or?
No, other than the fact that the house isn't finished. So, you know, I mean, probably no more than a normal house would.
Okay. Yeah.
It's, you know, surprisingly, even though it's not finished, it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see you've have used a lot of recycled cans here.
Yeah, cans are a way that you can build walls and things any shape that you want to build them. We use concrete, and then the cans are basically just a filler, and to take up space so that you don't use so much concrete. And so you just lay them, course them out, and lay them. And now this is going to be a planter here. It'll have plants in it. We can either grow food in there, or we can, you know, grow flowers or whatever we want to grow in the planter. And then there'll be cisterns in the garage. The roof on an Earthship is a catchwater system, so
okay.
It catches the rainwater and snow melt and runs it into a cistern. The true Earthships that they're building in New Mexico, they run that catchwater through a filter system, and they use it for household water, and then the sinks and the tub and everything all drain into these planters, and they water the planters. And the planters are set up to where they're actually a gray water treatment system. And so as the water filters down through the planter to the other end, and then there's a well on the other end where they draw the water back out, they run that to low flush toilets, and it goes to a conventional septic system. That, you know, that was our original goal when we started to do this, and then after, you know, living in the garage for 6 years, and we kind of bypassed a few things just to get moved in, And so we haven't done that yet. So the planters are unfinished. And
Can you explain the windows and why you chose to do it this way?
well, the windows are they're all recycled, by the way. They're used patio door glasses. I'm not sure that was the best choice to go with used glass because after we got them installed, a lot of them had condensation inside of them. But they work. I mean, you can see through them, and they let the light in the solar. But a lot of the Earthships that are designed, especially by Michael Reynolds, are all slanted glass, and those, from what people we talked to, they said they tended to be too warm, and so we went with the vertical glass on the advice of other people who've built Earthships, and so we're glad we did. And then for window coverings, eventually we want to put, you know, like shades on there, insulative shades and things, because in the wintertime when it's really cold outside, you get a lot of cool off of the glass.
Absolutely.
And so it would just make it a little more comfortable without it.
So let's talk about some other materials. You have brick all over, so do all of the floors have brick?
Pretty much. There's the kitchen and bathroom, and of course the garage is not brick. The brick, I was just driving downtown Springs one day and I saw them tearing down a building down on Nevada, a big old building, and so I stopped in and I asked the guy what he was doing with all the brick, and he said, well, we're just hauling it to the dump. And so I said, well, could you haul a few loads up to my house because I want to have a brick floor. And so the guy says, well, I really don't have time, but he says, I'll put you in touch with somebody that can. So anyway, I ended up hiring a guy, and they hauled 5 tandem dump truck loads of brick up here. And the problem was, I mean, it was full of trash and all the, you know, the construction stuff, because they had just gone in there and bulldozed this building down. So it was just these big piles of brick and mortar and pieces of wood and nails, and so I had to sort all that out, and then we had to clean all the brick, and that was one of the biggest jobs, was cleaning the brick to lay the floors. So, and it's pretty rustic, you know, the bricks are kind of chipped up and things, but
like
we kind of like the look.
Yeah. All right, so if you want to talk about some other materials that you've used, like this wood that I see here.
Okay, well this is just some aspen trees that were dead standing trees down on our property here, and we went down and cut them and used them just to transition, because the kitchen, I wanted to frame the walls in the kitchen rather than using the tire walls, because it's easier to mount cabinets on, and you know, just makes it a lot easier. So we framed a wall inside of the tire wall, and then I just used this log to you know, kind of transition between the framed wall into the tire wall. And then of course this will all be plastered with Adobe plaster and everything, and when it's all finished up.
Like that, is that Adobe, or you said that was dirt and Adobe?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's site dirt, and
so that same material will be over this?
Yeah, and I can show you in the pantry here in a minute.
Okay.
We kind of got the walls almost finished in there, but
what about this door over here? It's absolutely beautiful.
Michael Reynolds, the guy that invented the Earthship, he has 3 books that we purchased on how to build Earthships, and this is one of the things that they show you in the books, is how to build doors like this. And I mean, you can customize them any way that you want. Basically, they're made out of plywood and then covered with you know, 1x6s, and then I used the 1x4s. All of this wood and all of the wood on the ceiling was all it was pallet rack boards, and there was a home supply store in the Springs that went out of business, and they were selling everything at, you know, like 90% off, and they had all these pallets of pallet rack boards, 1x6s, and but the only thing is that they were only, you know, like 3.5 feet long.
Right.
So decided to go ahead and get them. They're all rough cut. They weren't all the same size, which made it kind of, I mean, the same width, and but it looks kind of rustic, but you know, it was real cheap, and you know, it probably would have ended up as firewood or something if we hadn't bought it. So
as far as building, were you confident when you started building this that it wouldn't fall apart? That you were knowledgeable enough about doing this? I guess my main question to that is, let's say I wanted to do an Earthship. I've never built anything in my life. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that this is something that someone could learn, or like, how did you feel about it when you began?
Well, you know, I kind of had a little bit of background and stuff, because my dad was, he was a remodeler and things, and so I learned a lot from him. So I had some basic knowledge. But the thing about Earthship, I mean, there's people that have all backgrounds that have built Earthships, and the thing is just doing research, and then other people that have built Earthships are your best resource, because everybody wants to help other people build Earthships, and it's just kind of a cause. So we had a lot of help from people that already have Earthships in Teller County, Park County, all over, and they came and helped us and showed us how to pound tires, and I went and helped them, and it was just a kind of a give and take thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
And so that wasn't bad at all. And then I read a lot. I went down and bought books on how to do electrical wiring and how to pass code, and how to do plumbing so it'll pass code, and all of that kind of stuff, and followed the instructions in the books, and we passed every inspection the first time. So
now you said you got into this because you were all about reducing your waste and recycling, things like that, but this is much more than just recycling. So how really did it grow into such a big project?
We wondered that ourselves. I don't know. It was just, sometimes I look at it and I look at some of the pictures and things, I think, man, we went through a lot of work to do this, and it's still not finished.
Right.
That's the big thing. You really have to be committed to build an Earthship and follow through, and I mean, there's a lot of Earthships that have been started out there that never got to the point where anybody ever moved in, and they're
Right.
sitting empty, and you have to, I mean, it was every day, after work, every weekend. I kind of feel bad sometimes for the kids, because we were here working and they were helping us.
Right.
And
Labor of love.
so they didn't get to do some of the things that maybe some of their friends got to do, because we were building the Earthship, and so it takes quite a bit of personal commitment to follow through and finish it.
So we're in the pantry now.
All right. Well, my wife always wanted a big walk-in pantry, and so we designed it into the house when we built it. But this is what we call a scratch coat of Adobe plaster, and so you can see the cracks and everything in it. As we put another coat on it, we'll put more sand in it, and it won't crack. And so actually the finish coat would be clear out to a ½ inch deeper than this, and that's the way the rest of the walls will all be. We wanted to get the pantry to this stage so we could go ahead and build shelves and get stuff put in, and not have to be moving stuff all the time. So that's why it's finished more than the rest of the house.
So it's naturally cool in here.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Well, an Earthship is always trying to maintain the temperature of the earth, because it's buried basically in the earth on 3 sides. So the back and both ends are buried. The roof is level with the top of the hill that it's built on. And so it always wants to maintain that temperature of 54, 55 degrees. So in here in the pantry, where the door's shut and the sun, the solar gain, it doesn't get back in here, it maintains that 55 degrees pretty much year round in here. And it was cold. It was down, almost down to 0, and it never froze in the house.
Wow.
So even with all the openings and stuff, and no insulation in the ceiling, and stuff like that.
So speaking to that, as far as heating and cooling, so you really don't need it.
Yeah, that's
Yes and no.
yes and no. In the wintertime when it's really cold out, and I think if we had coverings on the windows, we probably wouldn't need it. But with that, there's a lot of glass, and you get a lot of convection action with the air, and it tends to cool down to where it's just a little, to bring it up comfortable to 70 degrees, 68, 70 degrees. We have a gas log stove that we fire up, and but a lot of people just use fireplaces. In Colorado, you have to have some kind of an automatic heating system. They don't count thermal mass as a heating system, and so you have to have something anyway. So we put in a gas log stove, and we turn that on, and within 15-20 minutes everything is nice and toasty, and you know, so it's a lot less than having a big furnace, and
Right.
you know, it's kicking on all the time. So.
So Wade, how long did it take you to build this?
Well, we started on it in '98. So how many years has that been?
Let's see, that's
13 years.
13, 14, almost 14 years. Yeah.
So basically, it took us about 6 years to get moved in, and then after that, progress slowed considerably.
And so, obviously, your wife Dana, she also works at PPCC. What does she do there?
She's an administrative assistant for the business division.
Okay, great.
The Earthship is actually a trademark. It might be patented, I don't know, but it's Michael Reynolds is the one that developed the Earthship. So this is the same concept, but it wasn't developed by Michael Reynolds. I had an architect in Colorado Springs draw the plans, and we kind of decided what we wanted as far as, you know, each U. That's one of the things I was going to talk about inside is each of those rooms, like where the living room is and the kitchen and pantry, and each of those is called a U, or a U module. And the thing about an Earthship is you can build one U module, and you could put a roof on it, and you could move into that, and then you could build other ones and expand the house. So we decided to build all of them, including a garage at the same time, which was a lot of work.
Hence why you lived in your garage for 6 years.
That's right.
And talk about that for a little bit.
Well, we bought our property. What we wanted to do was build everything out of pocket, so we didn't have a mortgage. And so we sold our house in Woodland Park, and we took the money and we bought this property here, and then used that money to build the Earthship. So it took a while to do that. But we lived in the garage. We fixed it up kind of like a little cabin, and it's a 3-car garage. And we had a 5th-wheel trailer that we parked next to it, and so we used the 5th wheel for the kitchen and, you know, shower and things like that, and slept in the garage and heated with wood, and you know, we had an outhouse and the whole bit. So
that's awesome.
It was you know, the kids have something to.
It's an experience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was an experience for them. That's right.
So if you could talk to those tires right there, what exactly is that? Is that going to the basement?
Yeah, that would have been the stairwell.
Okay.
Down into the lower level.
Oh, okay. And so is there anything down there, or is it just
No.
under construction?
No, what we'll probably end up doing is putting just like a garden patio area down there.
Okay.
And you know, have you know, a barbecue grill and picnic tables, and, you know, maybe a hot tub, who knows, you know, down in that area, if we don't build the lower level. So, you know, if we win the lottery, we might go ahead and build the lower level.
So go ahead and tell us about the catch water system.
Well, the roof of an Earthship is designed to be a catch water system to catch rainwater and snow melt. And there's drains in the roof that drain the water eventually to a cistern, and then you use that water in the house, filter it, and use it. So you don't really have to have a well if you live in an area that has you know, a little bit of rainfall and snow. A desert area probably wouldn't work too well for that, but you know, for here it works real good, and you can run the water into a cistern and then use it. So everything from that drains to the middle, and then this is sloped slightly from the back, and it drains to the middle, and then there's drains placed all the way down through there.
So then where does the water go?
Well, right now I have it piped down the driveway, and it runs out down in the valley there. But eventually we'll have a cistern in the garage, and it'll run into there, and there'll be an overflow out of that into that pipe that runs out, so that you know, if we have a lot of rain and more than what water we can use, well, then it would just flow outside then.
All All right, I'm LeeAnn Westfall. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator at PPCC, and I want to thank you, Wade, a faculty member, for letting us tape your Earthship, and I hope that we can come back again.
You're welcome. You're very welcome to come back.